Apple is not just the world's largest company but also a money-minting machine. Apple has $380 billion in revenue, $3 trillion valuation and more than $160 billion in cash reserve on its balance sheet, making it one of the most successful and innovative companies of the generation. Apple had a humble start, with mixed responses on the products by customers and on the strategy by the think tank. Apple was criticized for the closed architecture and premium pricing. In 1980s, Steve Jobs, the co-founder of Apple, was ousted by the board, and by mid-1990s, Apple was on the verge of bankruptcy. How did Apple turn around from such a stage and become the undisputed leader in such a short span of time? Steve Jobs, the man who turned around Apple, succumbed to cancer in 2011. Apple was bound to fail without the visionary leader. Tim Cook took over as the CEO of Apple, and under his leadership, Apple didn't just continue on the trajectory but became better. This is the tale of Apple and the ups and downs it had, before becoming the most respected, profitable and successful organizations of the era. Apple was founded in 1976 by Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak. Their combined strength, Jobs' visionary drive and Wozniak's engineering skills, led them to establish Apple in Jobs' garage. Apple had taken a very unique approach. They were not just having their own hardware but also their own operating system and software. So, Apple was competing with multiple giants like IBM, Intel, and Microsoft from the very beginning. At a time when most tech companies were focused primarily on specifications, power, and cost efficiency, Jobs placed a premium on design and user experience. He believed that technology should not only be functional but also aesthetically pleasing and easy to use. This was a radical departure from the tech industry norms of the 1980s and 1990s, where design was often an afterthought. By the mid-1980s, Apple was struggling with internal conflicts and market challenges. Steve Jobs clashed with CEO John Sculley over strategy, and in 1985, the board sided with Sculley, leading to Jobs' removal from Apple. Although Apple continued releasing products, it struggled to compete in the rapidly expanding PC market, which was dominated by Microsoft and Intel. Apple's insistence on a closed ecosystem with proprietary hardware and software made it difficult to compete with cheaper, customizable PCs. If you are finding this video interesting, then please don't forget to subscribe to the channel. By the mid-1990s, Apple was in crisis, with unclear leadership and a confusing product lineup. Microsoft's Windows 95 was dominating the market, while Apple's market share plummeted from 10% to 3%. By 1997, Apple was nearing bankruptcy, burning through cash and facing speculation about either being acquired or going under. The once leading innovator was on the brink of collapse. After being removed from Apple, Steve Jobs founded a company called as Next, aiming to create advanced computers for education and business markets. While Next computers were technologically innovative, they struggled commercially. However, for their operating system, Next was acquired by Apple, bringing back Steve Jobs to lead Apple. Upon returning, Jobs streamlined Apple's bloated product lineup and focused only on consumer and professional desktops and portables. By simplifying the product lineup, Jobs allowed Apple to focus on innovation and quality rather than spreading resources thin across too many models. He collaborated with designer Johnny Ive to launch the 1998 iMac, a sleek, all-in-one computer that revitalized Apple's brand and became an instant success. Unlike many tech leaders focused solely on technological advances, Steve Jobs had a unique ability to anticipate consumer desires before they even realized them. Apple had a revenue of $6.2 billion in 2003. However, by 2010, revenue reached $65.2 billion due to huge success of iPhone. And by 2023, Apple's revenue had reached $383 billion. The compound annual growth rate or CAGR from 2003 to 2023 stands at about 14% for revenue and 20% for its share price. As of today, Apple is the world's most valuable company with $3 trillion of market capitalization. 52% of Apple's revenue come from iPhone, making it the biggest revenue contributor. While iPhone is second to Samsung in terms of volume sold, Apple leads in terms of revenue share and profit share. Apple has 50% market share in terms of revenue and a staggering 80% market share in terms of profits of the smartphone market. Apple has a gross margin of around 40% and net margin of around 25%, making it one of the most profitable companies. This has resulted in Apple being a cash-rich company, having $162 billion in cash reserves. How is Apple able to command such a high premium in a market with cutthroat competition? Apple's ability to charge premium prices for its products is a core reason for its high profitability. The company focuses on high-end consumers who are willing to pay a premium for superior design, user experience, and ecosystem integration. Let's see the reasons behind high premium. First reason is innovation. Apple has long pioneered itself as the innovator of the world, from the user interface and mouse in 1980s to revolutionary products like iPod, iPhone, iPad and later Apple Watch and AirPods. The iPod, launched in 2001, revolutionized the way people listen to music by offering a sleek, portable device that could store up to 1,000 songs, marking a significant shift from CDs and bulky players. Perhaps Apple's most groundbreaking impact on technology was the iPhone. Launched in 2007, the iPhone was the first device to seamlessly combine a phone, an iPod, and an internet communicator, creating a new category of product, the smartphone. Second reason is user experience. Jobs' focus on design and user experience made Apple products desirable, not just for their function but as status symbols. Another reason is its closed integrated ecosystem. This closed ecosystem approach ensured that Apple products work seamlessly together, creating an integrated experience across devices. Whether it was the iPhone syncing perfectly with the Mac or iTunes running smoothly on the iPod, Apple users enjoyed a unified, hassle-free experience. Another reason of high margins is of lower cost. A large part of its supply chain is based in China, where it can take advantage of lower labor costs and a highly efficient manufacturing ecosystem. Next is services upsell. Apple's emphasis on its ecosystem has paid off, with services like Apple Music, Apple Care Plus, and iCloud reaching around 20% of Apple's total revenue. Apple's brand loyalty is legendary. Once a consumer enters the Apple ecosystem, they are more likely to remain within it due to the seamless integration across devices like iPhone, Mac, Apple Watch, iPad, etc., and services like iCloud, App Store, Apple Music, and more. In 2022, it was estimated that over 90% of iPhone users stayed loyal to the brand when upgrading to a new device. Apart from being an innovator and having aspirational product line, Apple uses sales tactics as well to capture larger segment of customers and drive their sales numbers. Scarcity effect, where limited supply drive demand, is being used very well by Apple to increase sales. Apple also follows tiered pricing. Through budget models and up to 60% cheaper older iPhone models, Apple is able to capture budget-conscious but aspiring customers as well, primarily in the developing markets like India. Apple has a trade-in program. Apple's trade-in program incentivizes upgrades, reducing the cost of new models by up to 30%. For instance, 2021 trade-in data revealed a 15% increase in iPhone upgrades, contributing to a record $192 billion in revenue for that fiscal year. Apple also staggers product launches globally, to manage demand and build anticipation. For example, delaying iPhone sales in China has consistently led to high initial sales. Steve Jobs' resignation in 2011 left big shoes to fill, and Tim Cook, as his chosen successor, faced skepticism about whether he could maintain Apple's innovative edge. Cook, however, brought stability and strength to Apple's core operations, leveraging his experience as COO to streamline Apple's manufacturing and distribution networks. Cook's strength in supply chain management has been instrumental to Apple's success, enabling it to scale production efficiently while keeping product quality high. By 2020, Apple's operations reached a new level of efficiency, achieving record revenue and reducing production costs. While Cook is often seen as less product-centric than Jobs, he has overseen several significant product launches, including the Apple Watch, AirPods, and Apple Silicon processors. These innovations have not only expanded Apple's product lineup but also strengthened its ecosystem, encouraging users to integrate multiple Apple devices into their lives. Additionally, services such as Apple Music, iCloud, Apple Pay, and Apple TV Plus have become vital revenue streams, with Apple's services division alone generating $78.1 billion in 2022, a massive increase from previous years. Apple's stock value has grown more than tenfold since 2011, and the company continues to rank among the world's most profitable, with gross profit margins consistently above 40%. Apple is looking to launch more products and making existing products better. Apple is planning to make its products thinner and lighter, including the iPhone 17, Apple Watch, and MacBook Pro. The iPad Pro, unveiled in May 2024, is already Apple's thinnest product at 5.3 millimeters. Apple's first new hardware in almost a decade, the Vision Pro is a virtual reality headset that's scheduled for launch in 2024. Apple is also looking to capitalize on the AI revolution. This new personal system, called as Apple Intelligence, uses generative models to create personalized interactions across Apple devices and apps. Apple is capturing newer markets for growth like India. Apple's India revenue is expected to rise 20% in FY25, putting it on track to become the iPhone maker's third largest market after China and the US within the next 2 to 3 years. Apple's future will depend on its ability to navigate market challenges, innovate, and capitalize on opportunities beyond the iPhone. However, as ever, future of Apple looks promising. For more such case studies, please subscribe to the channel and click the bell icon. Now you know more about the current topic, please watch the next video to know more on the rivalry between Google and Microsoft.